was going to the conservatory director to say, I need time off. I need to leave school and take care of this. I am in trouble. It was the first time I was asking for help. And I went to my first class, and my teacher, Jeffrey, I just went to tell him that I wasn't coming. It's the only reason I went. And for whatever reason, I said, can I talk to you for a second? And I pulled him into the room next to the studio where class was, and I told him what was going on. And he said to me, he's like, I don't know. He said something like, I don't care what God you believe in. It's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, I'm going to leave. And I want you to prostrate yourself in whatever way you think is appropriate. And I want you to ask God to save you. Remove this. I don't remember the words he used. To help. And all of my baggage about religion was completely gone because I was so beaten down. I had drifted so far from myself. I was willing to leave school. I was willing to give up anything to have myself back. And so he left, and I just followed directions. I kneeled down, laid down, I don't know what I did, and I asked God to help me. And I had the most extraordinary spiritual experience of my life, which was is hard to explain, but it was an overwhelming feeling of unconditional love and a period of time where I asked questions and received answers. And one of the answers that I got, crystal clear, was I was made as I am, and there's no reason for me to ever look back at the Mormon Church again. And from that point on, I never looked back. There was no doubt. I received in such a deep way from whatever God that is, that it was over. Because up until that point, I thought that I was just going to be unhappy, living my life in reaction to the Mormon Church. It's like I was still bitter. And I was like, I'm just gonna carry that around I know I can't be in the church, but so I have to be out. But I'm gonna be in some ways living my life in reaction to it always. And then this happened, and that was over. Something broke. The concept of God that I was raised with shattered, and something completely new emerged. I got sober after that. I didn't stay sober from that moment on, but I've been sober now for 10 years. I thought that I was drinking and using drugs because I was gay too. It was all tied up. Like, that's...
Because you bought into the stereotype yourself.
Yeah. It's like you're either in the church and living a straight life and miserable because you can't live out your desires, or you're outside the church and you're, drug addicted, promiscuous, and, and unhappy. All I know is that I was in God's hands. No, so how am I now?
Yeah, how are you now?
Well, I have my ups and downs, but I feel like a member of the human race now. That's what I feel like. I don't feel other. I don't separate my experience from anyone's experience. I can identify much easier with anyone now. It's like someone who I may not share their experience at all, but I can understand how they feel. I can understand their, I just have I feel like a member of the human race. I have a relationship with God, which I thought I could not have. I thought that was part of the deal of coming out, that I would have to leave that behind. So I had my name taken off the records, and I was home. I went home for some reason. I was at my parents' house, and I told my dad, my mom and dad, and I remember setting them down because I knew it was an important thing to tell them, but I'd already come out. I'd been out for a while, and for some reason, when I told my dad, he got angry. I kind of couldn't believe it. My dad generally does not get angry, and he just had a flash of temper, and I was completely surprised by it. And I remember saying something to him like, well, Dad, what do you want me to do? Would you prefer me to keep this agreement in place that I made in full faith at the time, or dissolve it and be true to myself and truer to God than keeping this, this fake agreement in place? And, he got it. I am making an effort now to really connect with my family. In some ways, I think I've kept them at a distance out of my own fear. And that's just nonsense. That's my own fear. So I'm trying to reach out to them now. My parents have been great. Totally accepting. I don't try to understand it because they just sort of put the church here and they put me over here, and they do not try to reconcile them. But when all that Prop 8 stuff happened, they were out of the country doing, church stuff.
Lucky.
Yeah. Right. But when it happened, I remember, what was it before? In California, there was another measure on the ballot.
Right.
And again, at that time, the church, over the pulpit, was asking people to give money and time to, fight it, to keep it from passing, or whatever it was, to defend the family. And my parents would not participate. And they took flack for it, because my dad was a leader at the time. And the way they answered that question was, they said, to do that would be disloyal to our son. And they left it at that. No explanation. And, here I am having my hang-ups about my parents when they're maintaining their integrity of their beliefs and also showing incredible respect and love for their son. I just couldn't see it. My boyfriend at the time, this was years ago, this guy Steve, he was treated like a family member. My dad surprised the family with a trip to Disneyland. We stayed at the Disneyland hotel, and it was a surprise. He just sent the tickets in the mail to us. I think he said keep these dates free or whatever. And he booked a room with one bed for me and my boyfriend for a week.
So sweet.
Yeah. I mean,
So sweet.
when we would stay there, we stayed in the same bed in a room together, under their roof. My mother almost walked in on us having sex.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. I don't think she knows. Those are my parents. That's what I'm dealing with. In some ways, I wish they were jerks about it, because then it would be easy. If anything, I've had to come to terms with my own judgments of my family. Because my family has been, they're as open as you can be and still be in the Mormon church. Unless you're a sunstoner.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, it all hinges on this idea that sexuality is a choice. And nobody really seems to notice that if it's a choice, then everybody's choosing their sexuality. Right?
Right.
So that means straight people are choosing to be straight, which implies that there was a choice to be made. Maybe I'll be gay, maybe I'll be straight, not
I feel the
sure.
same. I feel the same both ways, but I'll choose one.
Yeah, right. That there's a choice. It's completely absurd. It's totally ridiculous. Nobody seems to notice that why would it be a choice for me and not for some straight dude?
Right.
Or from some straight woman. I don't think anyone can honestly ask themselves, did I choose my sexuality, and say yes? No matter what it is. It just is. We're attracted to what we're attracted to. It's like the elephant in the room that nobody seems to notice. It's haven't you noticed that your sexuality just is what it is? You're turned on by who you're turned on by? And that's it. End of story. And that's why I say God is reality, because reality doesn't lie. It just is what it is.